Neil climbed over the fence, carrying Repty, in the woods of London. So Neil sat down and asked, "How are you, Repty? Is that reconstruction better for you?" Repty replied, "It certainly has. Dr. Centrix did an okay job rebuilding me, but Professor Shawson did a better job. My model is much stronger." Meanwhile, at the other side of the woods, a spaceship is parked on the grass. The ship looks like a metal bronze pentagonal pyramid with 4 square silver doors, with 4 rectangular black stained glass above each. A door opened, and a man that looks like an augur with antenna on both sides of his head, wearing grey overalls similar to factory workers wear, stepped out of the ship. Quinn and Jed are walking down the London street. Quinn said, "We've got about an hour till the geek retreat opens. Do you want to find Neil? And I'll give Jodie a call. We'll get some breakfast." Jed replied, "No problem." So Jed ran off. He crossed the road. He walked inside the woods. There was sound of sticks snap. So Jed looked around, wondering what's making the noise. But then an orgre-like alien growled as he approached and grabbed Jed by the shoulder. While Neil and Repty are chilling in the woods, Jodie arrived and said, "Neil, hi. Are you ready for another round on D&D? Neil replied, "Yeah, I sure am. You can have a go coming up with a story if you want." Repty asked, "Is that another universe game?" Jodie noticed Repty and asked, "What is that thing?" Repty commented, "I don't answer to the thing. I answer to Repty." Neil explained, "He's a friend from work." Jodie said, "He's very impressive. Is he alien?" So then the phone rang. Neil picks the phone up and answered it. Quinn was on the other side. Neil said, "Hey Quinn." "No, I haven't seen him." "You can't have gone missing, surely." "Okay, I'll investigate. Bye." The call ends. Neil said, "Quinn has apparently sent Jed to meet us, but there's no sign of him. You meet up with Quinn. Me and Repty will go and find Jed." In the lab, Professor Shawson is typing away on her computer, while Cypher and Holly are eating their sandwiches at the table. So then Neil and Repty burst in. Shawson asked, "Are you two okay?" Neil replied, "No, my friend Jed has gone missing." Cypher asked, "Do you know what happened the last time you saw him?" Neil said, "He was supposed to meet up with me in the woods because we were going to play Dungeons and Dragons in Geek Retreat, but he wasn't there. I kept trying to call him, but he hasn't picked up his phone. I left him a message." Professor Shawson said, "I'll get to the woods to see if I can find any samples so we can get the idea of his whereabouts. All of you stay here." Repty asked, "Do you need my assistance there?" Shawson said, No, I'll be fine. I'm going there by car, pick up some samples, and come back here." Shawson hanged her lab coat up on the coat stand, and she picks her winter coat. She opened the door, got out, the door closed, then she stepped into the black car and drove off, while Neil, Repty, Cypher and Holly hanged around inside the lab. Neil asks, "What do we do?" Repty commented, "Our leader has ordered us to remain here." Neil said, "After I graduated from Newcastle College, I moved here in London with Repty, and Jed helped us settling in. We became good mates after a while." Holly said, "I'm sure Professor Shawson will help. Give her a chance." Suddenly, the computer bleeps. So Neil, Repty, Cypher and Holly gathered around to look at the screen. "Something has been detected coming from the woods." Repty said, "A spaceship and an alien life has been detected." Cypher typed on the keyboard to find out what alien it is. Then an orgre-alike alien appeared on screen, and Holly was disgusted and commented, "Ugh, I'm so off Shrek right now." So Neil said, "I'm the same with Wizards vs. Aliens. So do you know who that is?" Cypher managed to get the information and said, "According to the fact file, this alien is called Kevnoch. The clone warriors originated from a planet, Curvin, grown to become hunters. There's not much of them left." Oh no. Neil and Holly asked, "What?" Cypher said, "This is very bad." Neil asked again, "What? What's bad?" Repti answered, "Kevnochs are known to eat sentient life forms, including humans. They're also cannibals." Neil said, "You've got to be joking. We'll have to get a taxi right now." Repti said, "You'll need my assistance." Holly said, "Too right we will." Meanwhile, Professor Shawson walks through the woods. She noticed some strange muddy footprints on the ground, so she had a closer look. But then, what she didn't realise is that a Kevnoch is standing behind her. Inside an office of a police station, there was 2 policemen inside an office. One of them sat on a chair, looking sinister, and asked, "Are you busy, Mr. Downing?" So he replied, "Of course, Officer Rick. What's up?" Rick commented in a snarling tone, "I think we should investigate this lab of Shawson. There's been sightings of that robot snake." Eventually, Neil, Repti, Cypher and Holly hurried through the woods. Cypher asks, "So what we're going to do?" Neil answered, "We're going to save Jed and Professor Shawson. Are you okay?" Repti replied, "Acceptable." Neil commented, "Good, because we need you against this Kevnoch." Repti said, "I'm ready for it. Big time." Inside Kevnoch's ship, Jed and Professor Shawson are tied to the table, while Kevnoch is working on a machine. Professor Shawson said, "I think that creature brought us here for a reason. I don't know why." Jed said, "I hope we don't have to find out." Shawson said, "I think Neil and the team will figure out we're in trouble. They'll help us, don't worry." Outside, in the woods, Neil suggested to split up, and Cypher replied, "Good idea. Holly and I will go right. You and Repti go straight ahead." Neil said, "Okay, we'll phone each other if anything happens." So Cypher and Holly went to the right. Neil and Repti walked forward. Neil said, "Kevnoch has got to be here somewhere." So they make their way through the woods, and eventually found the ship. Repti said, "That's Kevnoch's ship." Neil replied, "Yeah, we need to quickly go in before Jed and Professor gets eaten." Suddenly, Kevnoch approaches. Repti tried to shoot with his laser eyes, but Kevnoch knocked him over. Neil shouted, "What have you done to my friends?" So Kevnoch grabbed Neil. While Professor Shawson and Jed tried to set themselves free, Kevnoch stormed in, dragging Neil. Jed asked, "Neil, are you okay, buddy?" Neil replied, "I'm fine, pal. We need to get out. Kevnoch is going to eat us." Meanwhile, Cypher and Holly have found Repti lying down. Holly asked, "Repti, are you okay? Where's Neil?" Repti said, "Acceptable. Kevnoch took him. The ship is over there." Cypher and Holly noticed the ship as Neil is tied up with Shawson and Jed. The Kevnoch pushes the lever. Professor Shawson believed that her, Neil and Jed are lying on the stove and they're about to be fried. So then Cypher, Holly and Repti burst in. Neil said, "Thank heavens you're here." Kevnoch was walking towards Repti, but then he fell after he got zapped. Shawson shouted, "Turn it off, quick! It's that lever there." Cypher quickly pulled the lever and the heat machine is switched off. Holly and Cypher set Professor Shawson, Neil and Jed free. Holly said, "He must be Jed." Jed replied, "Yeah, Jed Warden. Thanks for the rescue." Suddenly, Kevnoch got up, so then Neil shouted, "Watch out!" Holly said, "Repti, fire!" While Cypher wrestles with Kevnoch, Professor Shawson pushed the lever and said, "I'll overheat the oven and see what happens. Everyone, out!" So Repti zaps Kevnoch again. Kevnoch falls again. The whole gang ran out of the ship and got away as far as they can. The ship explodes. Professor Shawson, Neil, Repti, Jed, Cypher and Holly got inside a car, and Shawson drove off. Jed asked, "What do you guys do?" Neil said, "I think we should show Neil the truth. He won't tell anyone. Besides, he already knows Repti." So eventually, the car is parked outside the lab. The whole gang got inside the building, and Shawson said, "Firstly, Jed, I'm Alice Shawson. You can call me Professor. I'm a Nobel Prize winning scientist. This is Cypher Ripple and Holly Downing. We face alien threats and return anyone not from this universe back to their homes. We're a team, Jed commented. So cool. How did all of you get together? Shawson explained. Well, after I lost my parents in a car crash, this old scientist, Dr. Brendan Peterman, hired me. A few years later, he let me move my lab here. Jed asked, did he deal with aliens as well? Shawson replied, yes, back in 1963. He met a time-travelling alien called Skellingman. They both defeated carnivore's amoeboidal alien from that old Blob movie world. No one knew about it, but now he told us after the encounters we've had in the last decade. Cypher asked, would you believe that I was from another planet? Jed was confused, so Cypher explained, I come from a planet that looks like a beach. It's called Kolth. I must say, I'm still not used to the cold weather here. Jed laughed and said, I get it. The Hoth is cold snow planet in Star Wars, and Kolth is hot beach planet in this world. Sorry. Cypher carried on explaining, my mother and father dumped me to Reinforcement Society when I was a child. Captain Shirley was my boss. He was cruel. He believed Ocean Poet was evil. He was an alien ghostfish, but the creature was protecting the planet. Holly said, he kidnapped me from Cornwall for experimentation, which is how I met Cypher. Jed asked, how did you escape? Cypher answered, we were saved by 3 beings, currently living on planet Holteri, Freud, Skellingman and Disay. My parents are gone. I have nothing on that planet, Holly said, so I brought him here and helped him learn about the Earth. We started to fall in love. Professor Shawson said, Brendan got us all together because he believed we made a great team. Jed said, evidently as he rescued me, and I can't thank you enough. Neil said, if you have any more aliens or franchise problems, you can talk to us, but please, try and keep what we do secret. Professor Shawson said, I think you both should meet up with your friends at Geek Retreat. You deserve it. So Neil and Jed left the building. Shawson said, I think you two also deserve a date night. Go on, go. Holly and Cypher held hands and left the room.